So I wanted to do a little video on my daughter's 2016 Ford Explorer leak that she has. And before I get into it too far, I'm just a backyard mechanic. Take everything I say with a grain of salt. If you want it done right, go to a dealership to somebody who's certified. But if you like tinkering with it like I do, then maybe this video will help you a little bit and save you some headache. So anyway, always tell people, disconnect your battery when you're working with electronics so you don't short anything out. But there'll be times when you'll need to, need to have the battery hooked up. But basically mine started, my daughter's here due to the coronavirus. Everybody's back home from school, and it was parked down in my driveway with a slight slope, and downhill she had it nose down, and when she went to move the car, the floorboard was full of water. Now, the sunroof was closed, and she said that the sunroof has not been working in a while. So I started going online. There was a good video on there by Jacob Mercer, I believe his name was, from 2019 that helped me out a lot. But there was a few more things I kind of felt like I would have liked to have had on there, so I'm making one of my own. Now, also, I saw some reset videos. So I tried the reset video first, and I'm not the only one that's tried it. On this 2016, what worked best for me was pushing the stop button once, and the door has to remain open on this one, I believe. I don't know if it really mattered. Shut it back off, push it again, and then within just a few seconds, go to your tilt mechanism, push it once, let go, and then push it and hold it. And what it's supposed to do is you hold it and it'll actually tilt up, come back down, go all the way open, all the way shut. And basically it's like a reinitialization feature for, one that you've, it's just not working right, or it's gotten out of sync, or you've replaced some parts on it. So what mine did is hers did, was it just tilted up. So made it even worse. So I had to bring it in the garage. What I was wanting to do though was see if her drains were clogged up. She also had a windshield put in a little while back, so I didn't know if it was a windshield. So long story short, I'm not 100% sure about that, but on these videos, they talked about removing the motors, and the motors actually having water in them. So what did I do with those papers? Pause it here for a second. Okay, so I went back and found the papers I was looking for, but I was kind of hoping before I had to take, all this down, that it would be something maybe simple. I went back through the procedure again, and every time I would hit the tilt, then hold it again, I would get a click out of the motor, but it wouldn't do anything. And most of these videos show that the motor that runs the glass and the tilt on the sunroof is the one that gets wet the easiest, I guess, when there is a leak and goes out. The one that actually works as shade is still working. And so anyway, I went online and got a little schematic on this switch, and I ohmed it out. Basically, if you pull the plug out, these terminals, the male terminals, are numbered 1 through 12, and 12 is your common return. So pretty much everything, when you do your tilt or your glass, everything goes to the 12. So basically, if you put one of your meter leads on 12, and then if you check it to 3, to 8, to 6, glass, and 4 and 9. So basically everything in here was just fine. I didn't have any issues with that. It ohmed out every time I pushed a button and had the ohm meter on the appropriate terminal, and then on 12 I got continuity. So nothing wrong with that. So then I guess we'll go over, and basically, if nothing else, I'll show you how to get the thing shut. so that at least you can get it shut and maybe caulk it or whatever and never use it. Who knows? I haven't really checked with the dealership, but at my understanding that it's kind of expensive to, if the seals are leaking, to replace them. My drains were fine. I'll go over that in a minute. But the motor, I don't know if you can see it. Oh, let's see here. Come on, baby, focus for me. Yeah. There we go. I've actually put some leads on it. I had it out, and I took the circuit board off of it, and I put some leads on it so that I could get it to open and close with a battery booster. But anyway, it takes 3 either Torx 20 heads or 8mm. But I only pulled down half the headrest, only the driver's side. So 2 of them I got out okay with this. The problem is it's the wall of it's almost too thick when you've got this on the motor. There's a couple places where it kind of prevents you from getting up in there. So I basically used this Torx 20 and a swivel head to get one of them. It was a little bit of a pain in the butt to get to. So those are the tools that I used to get that out. And I thought when I looked at this, it looked fine, but then we just noticed a little bit of rust in that corner. So when we took the board out of this housing, it was rusted on the other side, and we tried some contact cleaner, put it back in, it still wouldn't work. And the reason I'm able to stick these wires on it is on the motor itself, when you put the circuit board in, there's those 2 little clips is where it attaches to. So on the motor, you can actually take the place of that to manually operate it. All right, so let's move that out of the way. Let me try to go over how I took this thing down. Let's see. I don't know if you can see up in here, but basically there's magnets kind of hold this thing for the most part in place. But, okay, the little switch area, you just grab it on the front and just kind of pull and it will pop down. There's not much that holds it in place. I didn't touch that side like that one guy did, which would have given me, it would have made it a lot easier, but I just didn't want to have to put all that back up. There's a Torx 20 screw that holds that on, and 2 Torx 20 screws that hold this, the visor in place, the other half of it. And let's see, oh, this cover. So you got to get this little cover off of your visor before you can get to the screws. And they have these little tiny clips, if you can see them, that you have to like gingerly get up in there. I tried to split the crack first, and that kind of buggered it up just a little bit. So you really just want to get under the edge. Even a little flat blade screwdriver will do it, and then pop them out. And then there is a plug up in there that you'll have to get out, and it is kind of glued in place like the one guy said. It's right there. And I just took a little screwdriver and pushed in on that one little tab and pulled it apart. Now, as far as this pillar goes, it does just snap in place. Let's see, I believe right here. Here, I just kind of grabbed it from the back and kind of worked it out and got it slid out of my way enough that I could get it down. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to tell y'all. I really couldn't ohm out. I tried ohming out all the way from this wiring that goes on the actual switch all the way to this wiring harness that goes on the motor, but it goes through a control board somewhere, so I really can't ohm that out. It's the only thing I can't tell if it's bad. The actual motor itself's fine, but that circuit board that goes on the motor is, 90% chance it's the culprit from what I found. So I wanted to get this thing closed for now. And before I close it, let me just get up here and show you where these drains are. So there's drains in the front corners. You can see the little hole back there, and really hers were clean. I poured a bottle of water in them. They came out through the, behind the fender well and came out on the ground. So there wasn't anything wrong there. I went ahead and ran some compressed air through it. And let me show the other one, maybe a little better angle. And then there's the track that it runs down. I went ahead and cleaned all this because I think I'm going to, I don't know. I'm going to go out and see if it leaks tomorrow. And if it leaks, then I guess I'll just get this thing closed and leave it as is. But let me show you where that drain runs out the pillar here. Okay, if we look back up, golly, let's see here. I think it focuses better on its side here. Right here is that little catch basin. Here's your drain line. It comes around, it's part of my video, runs down the pillar on the top side of it. And then it comes down. And hers was filling up on the floorboard. And then it kind of runs down back behind the fender well if you crawl under there. Anyway, it was dripping down just fine. I went ahead and ran some compressed air with my air compressor in there. So, getting to closing this thing. Oh. When I took the motor out, we hooked a little 9-volt battery to it, you know, after we had the circuit board off, and it spun around, so we knew the motor was good. So, depending on the polarity on your little booster, you can make it go forward or backwards. So, and before I start closing the sunroof, also on the top of the motor there's a little gear. It fits up between two cables, and the two cables have gears on them that they fit on each side, and that's basically what, you know, opens and closes your sunroof. So if I touch this, you know, basically we're gonna let it come up and close all the way. I went too far. So the back's tilted, so now I've got to reverse the polarity here. Hold on a second. So I switched my red wire back to the red terminal, and we're gonna go black on black here and see if we can get it to seat just right. All right, I think that's all the way shut. So if nothing else, maybe this will help you manually get it shut if you've gotten it into the open position. You could actually leave the motor in place. Oh no, I think you'd have to take the motor out to get all these clips out of it before you can get to these terminals. These two little terminals right here on the motor itself. But anyway, this gives you an idea how to manually shut it. Tomorrow I'm going to have it shut, take it out in the rain, or take it out and put a hose to it and see if she leaks. And if it's leaking, I'm not going to replace the motor. I don't think the drains are full, so I think we've got some kind of leaky seal, even though it really doesn't look bad just looking at it. So I hope this helps you a little bit, and it's not a fun thing to mess with. Oh, one positive thing I will say, these headliners are plastic pretty much everywhere, so it kind of keeps the water from just seeping through like some of the old headliners. So but it causes it to run to a corner somewhere. So depending on the angle of your vehicle, it's kind of which way the water is going to run when you're parked. So hope that helps, and let me know how y'all do on them.